Merry Christmas, everybody. By the time you see this video, this will either be Christmas Day or right afterwards. And yeah, today we are going to be setting up this 2010 MacBook 13-inch, upgrading it with RAM and an SSD and a bunch of other things. And we will be fixing this gaming system up, both for Christmas presents, and it is currently the morning of Christmas Eve. And I've got a lot of work to do before Christmas Day to get these working. So let's get to it. So yeah, guys, anyway, I'm Greg Hrutkay, Hrutkay Mods, and in today's video, we will be upgrading this system right here that I bought off of Andrew from this video up here, where we built that 3770K system that no one ever watched that video, so I never made part two. It's this system he and I built about a year after. He had originally built this system himself, and it was in a really ugly case. He didn't like it. So what we did is he brought it over to my house, and we built it together into this NZXT case here. Well, long story short, I bought it off of him for about a third of what it's worth, because he owed me money for something he bought from me years ago, and, well, I got it really cheap. And this is a 9900K system, which came with a really nice graphics card and a bunch of other stuff that has been removed now. We're going to be putting a 1080 Ti into it. So I am building this for my girlfriend's brother, Colton. And this should be a great gaming system for him. He's, I believe, 10 now. And he's not going to be using this for more than probably Roblox and maybe Fortnite. I mean, he doesn't need a whole lot of horsepower, and this is way overkill for him. But he's going to love it. It will last him a long time. And if anything, we can always upgrade the video card in the future. So we'll get this thing running. And then this system here, I'm building for my friend Luke's son, Brayson. And this is a pretty clean MacBook. In fact, this is the 13-inch MacBook Pro. One of them that GT gave me. This is the one that had that weird avocado silhouette sticker on it that was very suggestive. I peeled that off, but there's still some evidence it was there. We have this system. We're going to be upgrading it with an SSD and RAM, and taking some bottom pieces off of this one, plus the screws, because this currently has no screws in the bottom. So we'll get this all set up for him. He'll be able to do his schoolwork on this and browse the internet and stuff, which should be plenty enough for him. So yeah, if I appear to be out of breath, that's because there is a chemical leak that happened in the basement earlier. We have every single door in this house open. I'm very lightheaded, but I've got to get this done. So hopefully I get this out on Christmas Day. If I don't, that means I blacked out and someone drugged me out of here, and I got it out later. Or I died. And in that case, the video will never be released. Let's hopefully I'm a little high, I think. I shouldn't be filming right now. Hopefully I don't die doing this, and hopefully I don't break anything while doing this. Anyway, so let's get on with the video. Alright, so let's start with the system that is going to get the least part of the views in this video, which is this 9900K system here. Which is a really nice system. We did a really good job building it, in my opinion. But now, let's get this apart here. and set this here. Eee. If you notice, there's no graphics card in here because I took it out. There's also, there was a sound card in here that I know he won't need because it's got its own dedicated sound, and I don't think he's going for a nice 3D audio and stuff as a kid that just needs something to game with. So we're going to actually be putting the HD connector back into the board and, you know, put this 1080 Ti into the system. But before we do that, we need to spin it around. Oh, it's so heavy. Okay. We have to do some cable management. And if I remember correctly, when we built this system, and he's also had the panel back off since then because when he upgraded the video card, he had to add some more power connectors. If I remember correctly, the side panel is like really tense. If I hit this button, it's probably going to fly off. So I have my hand here. Oh. Yep, that's exactly how I remember it. So, I wasn't expecting that to pop out that hard. We've got to feed some cables through here. I'll time-lapse this real quick. We've got to get one power connector out of here, plus that SATA connector that he doesn't need. I'm going to leave them in here, though, so he doesn't lose the cables in case he needs them in the future. So, I'll do that real quick. Now we got to wedge the panel back on. That should be fun. Ta-da! Oh. 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 Ha! It's apparently even more wedged now. Great. The heck? Ta-da! That was fun. Not. Okay, let's spin it back around again. Whew, I'm lightheaded. Okay. So now that we've taken care of that problem, what I am going to do real quick is we're missing a slot cover. I need to find one real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this system can now identify itself as part Mac because it's got a slot cover from a G3 blue and white in it now, because it's the only thing I could find. Let's get this HD audio plugged in somehow. Wow, that's a long cable. It goes that way. Let's plug it in first and then try to feed the wire through. There we go. Okay, well, it's not bad. All right, it's card time. Okay. Boy, it's hard to reach that. I hate working on PCs anymore. It stay. Get those started. Ah, crap. Really? Boy, is that an ugly wire management there. I mean, yeah, I don't like that. I mean, it works. It looks like crap. But yeah, the computer's more or less done. Now we just have to wipe every drive on it and install Windows. But we'll do that later. So this system's done. As long as this card works. This is actually the card off of my dad's computer. And I'm not sure if it works because I may have fried it a few years ago folding. Folding at home. We're going to test it. If it doesn't work, we'll have to put the card that came with it in it, which is a huge upgrade for him, but this would be plenty enough if it works. I'm hoping it does. So, let's get this panel back on. It's not the world's prettiest PC, but it should get the job done. So, let's move on to the MacBook Pro. So, correction before we start. This is actually a 2011 model, mid-2013-inch MacBook Pro. This is one of the systems that GT gave me up in this video up here. And it's a solid system. It's in really good shape, except that it's missing one foot on the bottom. And we're going to try to transfer it over from the part system down there. Plus, it has no screws in the bottom. Plus, we have to tear it down and clean it and repaste it. So, it's going to be fun. So, let's get to it. All right, so I've taken the liberty of pulling all the parts off the parts system and putting them on here first, or at least having them pulled, like all the hard drive mount parts that were missing on this, and the foot. And if you notice, you can't really tell which foot it was, and I think it was this one. Yeah, it was this one. What I did is I just took it off the other one, and then I super glued them on, and now we have super glue in each one just to try to hold them in place. That one looks like it's about to come off. Hopefully it will hold in place. They've held up pretty well otherwise. It was just that one that was missing. Now looking at that, I probably should put a little more glue on that. Yeah, that'd be fine, I hope. But anyway, yeah, we have the feet on it, and we're going to start tearing this thing down so we can clean and paste it. I don't know where to put this. Right there works, okay. No, yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's why you gotta remove it. Okay, well, I don't want to do that. So we'll do this. Hey, that works. Okay. Wow, that's dusty. All right, so I'm going to clean this up, and I'll be right back. All right, so we got it all cleaned up here. I noticed that the thermal paste was still actually pretty moist, but there wasn't much of it. And the thing was getting pretty darn hot because it burned a hole straight through this black piece of plastic here for the backlight. In fact, it's melted onto the heatsink right here. So yeah, that's a little concerning, but seems to be fine. So we're going to repaste this thing real quick and get it back together. Why did they make this connector the way they did? Yeah. Still works. I'm going to break something. It's bad enough I'm already really, really high in fumes. All right, so the first upgrade we're going to be doing on this system is we are installing 16 gigs of DDR3, which is a big upgrade from the 2 gigs that was actually in this thing. And this RAM is from Hrutkay. Never heard of it. It was the best reviewed cheap RAM on Amazon, so we'll go with it. It had some good reviews about upgrading MacBooks with it, so it should, in theory, work with a Mac. We'll find out if I can open it. And I can't open it. Okay. Give me the RAM. Give me the RAM. Give me the RAM. Come on. All right. Made in China. Yeah. Yep, I don't doubt that. I just realized I think this is the wrong RAM. I hope not. I think this is supposed to take 1333. I hope it's 1333 because that's 1333 RAM and that's not. Oh boy, we'll find out. Second upgrade. This HP SSD. It's an S750, 256 gig. All right, so goes in like this. Okay, so we need to put the pull tab on it. Like so. It probably won't stay, but we'll see. Need the drive studs. Give me the other drive stud. I want the other drive stud. I think it's because my hands are numb right now. Okay. I'm so tired. One second, one. Get the installer disk going. Yes, I want to make a disk. All right, we have an install disk for this now. That's cool. All right, now we just have to put the bottom on. Make sure everything's connected. I'm not making that mistake again. I hope that's connected. I hope I didn't screw up trying to put it in. It is 1333, so this RAM should work according to this sticker. Yeah, it might be 1333. I hope it is. All right, so bottom. Did I plug the battery back in? I swore I plugged the battery back in. Well, that's a bad sign. It's turning on. It says it's charging. Yeah, I did plug the battery back in. Okay, whatever. Did I hook the keyboard back up? I don't think I hooked the keyboard back up. Yeah, I didn't. Keyboard doesn't work. That's nice. Now I'm really mad. I'm like about to break this thing in half because I just put all the screws back in it. I'll be back. After actually fighting with it for a good solid 5 minutes, I finally got the ribbon cable to go fully into the connector, and it actually works now, which is quite nice because it means I can actually type on this thing and the keyboard actually works. Ta-da! If I boot, install, ta-da! So I'm going to set this thing up with Ventura because it seems to be the most stable OS right now with OpenCore on these older systems. And we'll have it all set up for them. And I've also got to hook up the desktop and wipe it and put Windows on it. It's 6 a.m. I'm getting very worn out. I've also been sniffing fumes for the last few hours. I don't feel good. And I'm very tired. On top of being very sick. So this has been fun. Yeah. All right, well, we'll come back to it when it's ready. It's 7:40. Just installed the first part of Ventura. I've installed Ventura 3 times. I'm very tired. On the other side, I'm trying to install Windows 11, but I don't know what version was activated on this the first time. So, yeah, that's another thing. I'm so tired right now. Literally, as I was about to say, so I decided to install El Capitan and then upgrade from that. I think that's an expired certificate. It's like 8:30 a.m. and I'm really sick of this by now. Set the terminal date to 2016 and it's actually working now, so boy am I tired. Now I started filming this at like 1 a.m. I can't even spell his name at this point. Yeah. It's about 9 a.m. at this point. We've got one computer set up. It seems to be working. I'm going to do one more test on the GPU to make sure it's still working. Seems to be fine. Windows is fully activated. We'll go into more detail after I test the other test I'm going to test. Superposition is running right now at max settings at 1080p because that's as high as this screen goes. And it's running butter smooth at 48 FPS, which is not bad for a 1080 Ti at max settings on this test. And seems to be working great. System seems to be working well. We'll go over the specs and everything. I think this thing's ready to rock and roll for him. Now, I've never ran superposition before, but I'd assume that's not a bad score, considering this test came out in 2017, long before this card did. It's probably a pretty good score for superposition. Anyway, so we are running the Armory Crate dashboard here for the ROG board that's in here. And here are the specs of the system. We've got Windows 11 Pro fully activated. I guessed what he had on here. Then I remembered that I actually showed him how to upgrade to Pro. In fact, I think I gave him a key for it back in the day for Windows 10. And then when he upgraded, of course, it became Windows 11. So it got the digital license and all that stuff and automatically reactivated, which was awesome. It's got 9900K in it. It is not actually overclocked. I don't see the point in overclocking it for him. This will be fully, it's going to be a nice, strong system for him for years to come without being overclocked. And maybe one day he can experiment with that, but I'm not going to do it. We've got 32 gigs of DDR4, the ROG Maximus 11, and a 1080 Ti. It's a MSI Duke card, and it's got 3 SSDs in it. A little overkill, but hey, I'm sure he'll be glad with it. So that's a cool system. It's fully functional. It's working. So that's cool. And now we just got to deal with the MacBook Pro, which is still giving me a headache. Well, I just realized why Ventura will not load. It's got to be on the latest firmware. It's not on the latest firmware. It's flashing El Capitan's firmware, which means it probably has another one that needs to be flashed. Yeah, of course. Well, at least now it's running an operating system. We are running El Capitan currently, and it is definitely on an old boot ROM version. I just looked it up, which means now I have to download High Sierra and start installing High Sierra to flash it again. At least I think that's how it's going to go. So, yeah, great. You know how stupid Apple's website is now? To download High Sierra through the App Store, you have to click on a link. The problem is, with the Safari on El Capitan, I don't know if there's still an update that I can't find or what, but Safari no longer allows you to do it. So you have to download an old copy of Firefox just to download High Sierra. Yeah, that's genius, Apple. Yeah, thanks. It's almost 10 a.m. I've done an NVRAM reset. And yeah, High Sierra is not installing. It's not booting either. Which means now I've got to reinstall El Capitan again. At least it's how it looks. Yeah, this is great. Yeah. Well, it booted into the High Sierra installer after all. That's the only thing it does. Yeah, I'm thrilled. I forgot that it had internet recovery. We're trying to boot into it right now, and it took me 4 or 5 attempts to get it to do it. I'm not sure if this system's healthy or not. Yeah, that's not going to help. That's lying. Since it's not on the latest firmware, it's not going to download High Sierra. I don't know where I have a copy of High Sierra. I'm starting to think this thing doesn't like the SSD. Well, I did some research, and Macs are sometimes really, really picky with SSDs. And this happens to be one of those SSDs that Macs are picky with. It seems like all HP SSDs apparently don't work, which I wish I had looked that up before I ordered the drive. Luckily, that has 3 SSDs in it, so he's getting a storage upgrade to twice the size. And I actually have some more of these SSDs that I was going to build another system with. This is the same size, so he's not losing out, and he's actually gaining. So we're going to be sticking a SanDisk SSD in here. Yeah, it's looking like that was the problem. So yeah, it's 11 a.m. Christmas Eve. We're back in El Capitan, and it's so much quicker. It's unbelievable. That was probably the problem. Let's try to get High Sierra back on here. Well, try to get High Sierra on here in general. So much quicker. Hey, the High Sierra flash is working! Yeah! Well, at almost 12 p.m., we are up to date with the boot ROM and all this stuff, so now we can run OpenCore, and I think I'm just going to install it directly. So, should be pretty quick, I hope. And this is where I get to the point where I'm about to cry. Because this works. I've done this before. You can install this once you boot it into OpenCore. It's booted into OpenCore. Yeah! It's 1:30 p.m. and it's still installing Ventura. But hey, it's at least doing it this time, so that's good. 2:08 p.m. and we can finally go over the specs of the system and what's going with this, and then we'll go back over that one more time and show what's going with that. So let's go over to About This Mac. This is a late 2011 13-inch MacBook Pro with a 2.4 gigahertz i5. Of course, the HD 3000 graphics, but you know, you can't do much about that. And 16 gigs of 1333. This system will also be coming with a charger, and it's got a good battery in it, and it's ready to go. And I'm sure Brayson will really like it. And it was a pain. I wish I'd known that SSD was bad before. The SSD actually works fine. It just doesn't work in this, so oh well. With Colton's system, you already know the specs, but this is what's going with it. It's a mismatch of interesting things. Like, for instance, this Alps Bigfoot Dell AT101. This is actually a real mechanical keyboard. We've had in the family since about '99. It's literally a real Alps mechanical keyboard. This is basically the PC version of the Apple Extended 2 keyboard from the 90s. And there we go. This thing boots up really quick. We've got some Logitech speakers that I got from Goodwill back in the day. They're not great, but they'll do plenty enough for him for now. We also have my Flatron EV224, which used to be my gaming monitor, even though it's actually not a gaming monitor. This is only at 60 hertz. But full HD, so it's still 1080p, enough to at least game on. And it served me well. And then we have my Torque X10, my Carbon Torque X10. I used that for years. It's time to pass it on. So here's that system. I mean, the keyboard looks strange, but I mean, this is a mechanical keyboard. And it will last him a long time because it's already going on like 25 years old. And it sounds just like an Extended 2 keyboard too, because it's the same Alps switches in it. Pretty cool. So let's wrap up the video. So in conclusion, guys, yeah, this video took me a lot longer than I thought it would. It took me over 12 hours to film this video. And the system I thought that would take the longest, this one, took me about an hour to set up completely. Where this one that I thought would take me about an hour to set up took me over 12. Thanks. So yeah, that was fun. I'm very tired. I haven't slept. I was standing in noxious, poisonous fumes for like 4 or 5 hours working on this stuff before it all dissipated. I've been very sick for the last few hours, but I've finally gotten to the point where I'm fine now. I'm just extremely tired because I haven't slept. It's still Christmas Eve though, and I still have enough time to edit this video and get it out for Christmas. If I'm determined enough. So here's hoping. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was a pain, but it's going to be well worth it to see the smiles on their faces and, you know, move some of this old stuff off to new hands. You know, I had this right here, this monitor has, it is seen a lot of gaming. And this is actually just an old office monitor. You know, I was never really fully into hardcore, fast screen rates and stuff. I was more in for resolution. It wasn't until I was much older when I understood why a gaming monitor is so important. But this will get him where he needs to go. You know, the speakers will do him well. I had these in one of my tech classes back in the day. That keyboard, it's been in the family since it was new. So that will go on and live on. My mouse that I gamed on, I got that like in 2015. And it served me well, and I'm sure it will serve Colton well. And then this, thank you GT for giving me all these parts systems so I could build something for Brayson so he could go to school and have something to work on, watch videos on. I mean, it's not a gaming system, but it's still a 2011. It's got an i5 and it's a Sandy bridge. In fact, this is just maybe a month or two, just a few months younger than him, but it will still serve him well, and I'm sure he'll appreciate it. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, once again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope everyone has a very happy holidays, very Merry Christmas and whatnot. And don't forget, I do have a Patreon and memberships if you'd like to support me. Either hit that join button down there or go to the link below in the description or at the end of the video from Patreon. And yeah, I'd greatly appreciate it. It would help me out a lot. But yeah, that's the end for today. And this has been a Hrutkay Mods video.